Now we're dealing a little with abstract ideas here, okay? Because feeling, art, these are all ideas that are kind of out here.
Nebulous.
And nebulous, you know, they're, okay, for those of you in radio land, you can't see me making the movement, but my arm is going away from my body, okay? So, I mean, we're dealing with abstract ideas here, and it's almost as if, I forgot the direction I was going with that now. Well, Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles, Zoltan King getting a little confused. But essentially, it was in the vein of, you know, you associating yourself with your art. And
right.
So what is I found my train now. What is your favorite idea?
Oh.
Do you have one?
Wow. I can't say I have a favorite idea, per se. I have ideas that definitely are close to me, but one favorite idea, probably not. A few of them.
Maybe I should phrase it differently. What do you like to communicate to others about yourself? I mean, because through your art, you communicate about yourself.
Good question. I'd say I like to communicate that I'm diverse. That's one of the reasons why I love film composition so much. Incidentally, I was actually involved in the pop music scene some years ago, but one of the reasons I did move away from the pop scene, there were various reasons, but definitely one key reason, now looking back over it, I can see that why I moved out of it, is that the pop scene tries to confine you in how you express yourself. You have to have an image. You have to have a gimmick. You have to have a sound. And by a sound, that doesn't just mean a signature style. It means if you are alternative rock, that's it. You're alternative rock. If you are rap, you're rap. If you're pop, you're pop. If you're jazz, and so forth. And the pop industry doesn't like crossovers. They don't like albums where one song's this style and another song. They feel it just won't sell. And I just found that too confining. I found that I had more to say than that, than just one style. There's so many styles of music that I enjoy, and I wanted to express myself in as many different styles as possible. So film music actually allows for me to do that, because you never know what you're going to get called upon to score. You never know what style you're going to be asked by a producer or director to write in. So that would probably be one of the things that my music I like to convey is that I'm diverse. Depth, I suppose. I mean, I like to try to convey some depth. And also I like to convey that I'm enjoying this, even if it's something that sounds down or sad, or I'd like the person to be able to hear the level of quality that this person who wrote this is really enjoying doing this. It's not just a job. It's not just, okay, well, you know, I'm getting the bucks, so, you know, I really am enjoying writing this out. And I want people to hear that. So those are some of the things I would say probably I'm trying to convey.
That's what I was going for, you see? I was trying to get that, you know, is it about doing a job and doing it well, or is it something more?
No, it's definitely something more. Mm-hmm. I could never imagine myself doing just a, 9-to-5 job where it's all about the paycheck. I would rather be making an average income and be enjoying myself than be making a phenomenal income and be stressed out and tense and miserable every second of it. It's, as the expression goes, you can't take it with you when you die. So
that's very true. That's very true. Very, very poignant words, and an idea that is very, very dominant in today's society. A lot of people think the same way. Mm-hmm. Okay, and
that's true.
And that's part of what Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles is about, is showing people that it's okay to think different ways. Mm-hmm. It's good to think out of the box.
Exactly. Draw outside the lines, color outside the lines.
Just take that crayon and go nuts.
There you go.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the book I'm a Man, That's My Job, The Philosophy of a Seducer. What is inner game? There's a lot of contradictory information out there, and one size does not fit all. Your inner game is as unique and personal as your signature or your fingerprints. This book provides you with the means to create your own seduction persona. This is a workbook, which means we will work together, and by the end, you will have developed your own personal inner game. By this, learn Learn what it means to be a man and what the role of the modern man in today's society is that will attract him to the woman he wants. Learn about how men and women think differently and how to take the lead in a relationship. This book is for you at franktalks.com.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, do you want the man in your life to understand you on your level? Do you want your man to be able to listen to and address all of your emotional needs? Show him how much you really want your relationship to be the best it can be. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test makes the perfect gift. The book, written by a man, for men, is endorsed by every woman that reads it. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
You're listening to Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles. I'm Zoltan King because I have to be. Hi, this is Zoltan sitting in for Frank this week, who is off gallivanting in Toronto, the big TO, Canada. I'm not quite sure what he's up to, but I hope he's having a good time. We're interviewing Matthew Binks, a Montreal film composer, and we're speaking to him about the lifestyle of a film composer. So, Matthew, tell us a little bit. We've already dealt with, what you get from your art, etc. And there's one thing we haven't touched on yet, and some of the obstacles in leading your lifestyle.
Well, there's a few. One thing that actually happens quite a bit is there's a lot of isolation. There's a lot of time that you have to spend away in a studio. Writing this music out. It's not the same as doing pop songs. Oftentimes with pop songs, you're collaborating with a band, or even if you're doing it with yourself, it's usually done in a much more limited fashion of, a song at a time where you write with more limited amounts of instruments. You're writing with, just guitar, bass, drums, or keyboards, or, whatever. Obviously, a lot of pop songs today are expanding. They're using a lot more diverse instruments, so using wide diversity of instruments. But the thing with film composition is there's far more music that has to be written. And you're given, let's say in a given 90-minute movie, it's expected that probably about at least 60 minutes of that is going to have music in it somewhere, on average. And it's a lot to write, especially if you also wind up having to write a very extensive score, like something that's going to be very elaborate, like with a full orchestra and that. If you're somebody who really cares to take the time to make sure that the quality of what you're trying to express comes out, you'll probably want to orchestrate it yourself. Oftentimes, a lot of composers today will hand off their work to a copyist. Not all of them do, though. I'm one who also prefers not to. I'd rather actually take the time to write it out. But that's more time on my part that I have to spend away in the studio. And it's just a lot of time. Like, I've missed... Because of it, I've missed out on social gatherings. I've missed out on getting together with people, and I've had habits go by. I've had a bad habit where weeks can go by where people don't hear from me, and then they call me up going, "Where have you been? We thought you died or something." And I'm like, "No, it's not that. I'm busy with writing music." So. There is some isolation to it. That's one of the things you don't get to get out and socialize as much as other people might get to do with a regular 9-to-5 job with their weekends free. That's the other thing. There's no weekends with this job. You write when you can because every second counts. Oftentimes with this job, the soundtrack is the last thing that's always done on a movie. And as a consequence of that, there's a big deadline to be met, and the pressure's all on you because they're waiting for you to finish up everything. So they're always on your back going, come on, we want to get this movie done. So every second counts. And that being the case,